If you entertain the concept that what you inherited from your parents upon birth expands deeper than just looks, you will find that your body may keep information around experiences as well. Both trauma and triumph get stored in the body, information deemed priceless guidelines and survival strategies. So if your earthly ancestors had to deal with a lot of hardship, physical discomfort and effort, is it that far-fetched to see this yearning for comfort, for softer interactions, for safe space as simply privileged or snowflake behavior? Or can you see that body as an archive of tens or thousands of lives that couldn't afford to rest, to slow down, to soften? Now finally getting that through their descendant. You might not believe it can ripple back through time to reach those ancestors, but even if you don't, all that exhaustion that was embedded into their descendant cells can now be unpacked and tended to. That's something to celebrate. That's how ancestral healing begins, by doing things differently than the ones before you. And as the body and mind are allowed space and time to take what they need, so does more capacity open up for dealing with harder things, with doing things that feel scary, uncomfortable, or that stretch your nervous system. We always seem to like taking sides. It's how this patriarchy raised us after all. Good or bad, left or right, up or down, and so on. If we are or have been in the intense trenches, we point fingers to the others saying they're snowflakes, that the world will eat them whole. If we are or have been in the soft refuge, we laugh at the others saying they're outdated masochists. Even if some days or people can be more difficult to deal with, I still believe in the coexistence of this perceived polarity. Even in the softest bed, there is a hidden thorn. Even in the harshest storm, there are glimmers of hope. It's all impermanence. Change is the only constant. That is both a blessing and damnation, rolled into the perfectly complete concept. We were never meant to be so one-dimensional. This is why I don't believe in hierarchical structures, economical classes, religious good and bad narrative, or New Earth splitting timelines. It all has the same dogma underlining it. Some are chosen, some are not. Some are good because they do X, Y, and Z, and some are not. What maybe started out as well-meaning has turned quickly into a form of control and manipulation. You have guidelines for being a good believer in your religion. You have guidelines for being a good working-class citizen of a modern, civilized society. You have guidelines for being a good woman. You have guidelines for being a good man. You have guidelines for escaping the matrix and joining your preferred New Earth timeline split. And I call bullshit. You cannot already be enough, but also buy my 5-figure course where I teach you how to make 5 figures. You cannot have everything you need within, but also invest in this New Earth frequency technology that you really must have. Otherwise you won't join the New Earth. It's all marketing, the same buy machine. Invest in you, in spending time with yourself, getting to know yourself, then connect to your community. If you don't have like-minded people or a community where your expression and truth is safe, yes you do. Mother Nature. Connect to the nature around you, even if it's just listening to the leaves cheering you on, feeling the wind embracing you, being refreshed by water or warmed by fire. We are called into balance, into truth. No person that feels safe to be themselves will hurt another intentionally. Don't cower from your struggles. Meet them head on. Don't fear your softness. Rest and comfort yourself without earning it. Find your balance. You were meant to be whole. Sensuality. For something that pertains to our 5 senses, it gets an incredibly bad rep. Sensuality truly is something that pertains to all of our senses, right? All of our 5 senses, so it pertains to the soma. Soma is the body without anything else. So we refer to the body without emotions, without the mind, without the soul, without spirituality. None of that, just simply the body, the soft animal of the body. If we could look at sensuality and sexuality through a graph, you would see that sensuality takes up a bigger circle, and within that bigger circle you will see sexuality takes up a small inner circle. What does that mean? Sexuality relates to sensuality, so you experience sexuality through your 5 senses, depending on what you like, but it is not the same exact thing. In a time and culture that so glorifies the getting out of the body, the ascension, the mind over matter, the overthinking of everything, just getting only into the mind, to the point where some people have said that we are simply the nervous system and nothing else, Talking about sensuality through simply an act of existing as a human in a human body is unfortunately demonized. If you would, for one moment, think of how you first learned to relate to the world as a baby, as a child, as an infant. You related to it through your 5 senses. Why do you think children just pick up stuff and touch it and put it in their mouth and try to taste it? They're relating, they're learning about the world, they're relating to the world. And on that note, to relate sensuality, the innocent sensuality of a child to sexuality pertains to a very small, very deranged percentage of the population that needs to atone and that needs to deal with the consequences of their actions as soon as possible. So it's safe to say that I'm not taking kindly to the erasure of the innocent, pure, unadulterated part of sensuality. Think about when you have your favorite food, or when you smell your favorite flower, or when you touch a texture that you really like, it feels really soft, or you just like it. Think about when you hear your favorite song. Is all of that inherently sexual? No, not inherently. I'm not going to comment on that. But it is not inherently sexual. It is simply pertaining to the senses. It is catering to your senses in a way that you find it enjoyable. And on that note, I see this, this trend of more and more sensual coaches online, which is fantastic, don't get me wrong. We need a return to the body in a very aligned and healthy way. But I see a lot of them, unfortunately, only talk about the pleasant aspect of sensuality. So exactly the examples that I've given you before, all of your favorite foods, sounds, your favorite movie, your favorite view, your favorite textures, your favorite songs, etc. All of those are pleasant experiences. Pleasant experiences are great, everyone wants them. But when we talk about the senses, ask anyone, especially women, we are not only going to have pleasant experiences, pleasant sensual experiences. And this emphasis on the pleasurable side is, one way to start the conversation. But we need to also acknowledge the unpleasant, the jagged, the serrated, the uncomfortable, the painful even. We live in a, unfortunately, patriarchal society, so that means we are brought up over glorifying linearity, hierarchical structures, this over that, that's better than that, comparison, a forced sense of control, manipulation, and so on and so forth. Within this patriarchal society, we are unfortunately led to believe that anything that is of the body is wrong. So regardless if you grew up in a religious household or not, you have probably at least heard about how the body is this inherently sinful and disgusting and dirty thing that we must get away from in order to ascend and go to heaven, return to source, whatever fits your boat. And it's more weird to see it in the spiritual community, no matter what kind of spirituality. It's weird to have this conversation present, especially in spaces where the conversation is about oneness, unity, source, how everything is connected. It is odd to have the conversation of separation from the body and returning to said source by foregoing this earthly body, in a concept, in a belief that everything, everyone is all one. How could you possibly sit there and still preach the exact same disconnect from the body, when if everything and everyone is all one, then that includes your body. That includes every body, including animals, insects, entire everything that you can see. So I think that we should have more honest and curious and discerning conversations, especially within these spaces that really want to force an idea of disconnect, any sort of disconnect. As always, I'm going to suggest that if we could all practice, you didn't see that coming, did you? If we could all practice experiencing and being in the uncomfortable in a safe environment, of course, I'm not expecting you to go outside and do crazy stuff unless absolutely necessary. I don't know. If we could practice in a safe environment to be uncomfortable, to sit with the uncomfortable, to the degree that you're prepared to feel uncomfortable. Maybe you're having you go to the gym and you have a more intense workout, or you sit in goddess pose for longer than you're usually comfortable. If we could all practice this, if we could build up our nervous systems to be so familiar with the uncomfortable and to be so familiar with our capacity and our power and our strength to push through, not over, through the uncomfortable and still be there, realize that nothing wrong has happened to us and we're that much powerful for it, then I think that we could have this return towards sensuality, return towards the body in a more holistic way. And on that note, it's not just the soma that we are fearful of feeling uncomfortable. There is also the emotional body that we are deeply afraid of being uncomfortable. We don't like feeling fear, so we step away from it. We don't face it. We don't go there and see, okay, why am I afraid of this? We stay away from getting hurt. So even if we would like to go after something or someone, we hold back, trying to protect ourselves. What if I get rejected? What if I'm not good at that? What if? If we could practice being in the uncomfortable within the body, I feel that we could then ripple it out and keep practicing being uncomfortable within the emotional body. And then within our minds, the way out of the echo chamber is staying curious. Whenever you have your ideas or your ideals or your morals questioned by someone outside of you, instead of being so aggressive and having an argument, try to have a conversation instead. It's not about who's right, it's not about who's wrong. Just have a curious conversation about it. Yes, there are some ideas and concepts that are inherently wrong and hurtful and should not exist. Yes, but at the very same time, if we hold on to something that feels comfortable and known and safe for us for so long, we unfortunately put ourselves in a us-made cage. So I deeply encourage you, and myself as well, I'm in this with you, to keep practicing being in the uncomfortable, keep practicing nervous system capacity, keep practicing finding our edge, finding just how powerful and capable we are. And as women, especially physically, and I mean that in the strength type of way. For example, I've been really avoiding working on my trapezius muscles because I thought that it would make me look like hunched over and too buff or whatever. But to get to where I want to be, which is doing my first pull-up, I obviously have to work on my back muscles and my delts more, because stabilizers and so on and so forth. My partner encouraged me to, step out of this echo chamber of mine and just try and see what happens if I do more or different exercises than I've been doing. And it's been so eye-opening just how much more integral and consistent a strength and capability and body capacity has been throughout. Unfortunately, I could not get my first pull-up yet, but I'm happy to say that I am still working on it, and the moment that it happens, the entire world will know, because I have been waiting for, I'm 34 now, I've been waiting for the bigger parts of my life to do this. So yeah. As women living in a patriarchal society, I'm sure that we are all too familiar with altering our appearance to fit into these society-approved beauty standards. We even end up lying to ourselves, saying we're doing it because we like it, or it's self-care, or it's for ourselves. But if we really look at it, all of these beauty standards that we have for women, glorifying youth, hiding signs of aging, being as delicate and frail and fragile as possible, diet culture to get that small body, textureless, hairless skin, being soft-spoken only, especially with what's been revealed globally. I don't think that I have to draw the point A to point B realization for you what these beauty standards were glorifying. These are the standards that you would see in a child, not in a grown adult woman. Dismantling years and years of conditioning to fit the beauty standard takes time and conscious, intentional effort, but it can be done. For example, when I paint my hair, I ask myself, is this for me or for someone else? Do I want to hide my white hairs, or does this genuinely make me happy? When I put more effort into my appearance, I check, is this so I can better express myself or to look pleasing to someone else? Am I holding back from wearing something? Why? Can I choose differently today? When I look at myself in the mirror, I make sure, am I looking with my eyes or theirs? Am I judging myself with standards I never had until I heard someone else talk about them? When I talk to myself, I pause. Am I speaking with my voice or theirs? Am I subconsciously repeating hurtful words that someone else said about me? Can I be kinder? So I've got some updates on my pull-up situation. My partner challenged me to try an elastic band. I've never tried that before, so I was a little bit wary of it snapping, but it actually worked. I don't know by how much or how little it helps, but regardless, it worked. And after this particular day, I'm happy to say that I tried it again and increased to 3. So I'm still working on them. I'm getting there. That bigger circle. Very good. Very good. Very eloquent. Patriarchal. Okay, I'm just gonna pronounce this. Vamos a designar anything else. I don't know, it was funny to me, okay? It was funny to me.